guys, Stephanie Gold back here for my second Make It Monday video with Paper Tray ink. Today I have a couple cards that I created as sort of a coordinating card pair for you today. And basically my goal in what I wanted to do here was to make two cards that were not the same at all, but used the same colors and the same stamp set, so basically the same supplies. And then went together, so you could either give them away as a set or you could give them away separately and it wouldn't matter, but you got two unique cards done at the very same time. So here I'm making the first card, which is using a pine feather cardstock card base, and I'm going to emboss the largest flower from the brand new Especially You stamp set. And I'm going to use the Versamark ink pad, and I'm going to heat emboss in gold onto this cardstock. So here in the video I actually forgot to use my embossing buddy, so I went back before I stamped with the Versamark and I used the embossing buddy on there to hopefully keep away any stray pieces of embossing powder. And now I'm going to just stamp right on my cardstock and then cover it with the gold embossing powder, which I'm using a Zing embossing powder. So once I get all of that extra powder off, I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss my design. Once it's all heat embossed, I'm going to go ahead and bring my card base back. I'm going to set it aside for a moment, and I'm going to use the Grateful die that's coordinating with the Especially You set. And I'm going to die cut out of the True Black cardstock. And then I'm going to cut a strip of vellum, and I'm going to put a little notch in the edge of one of the sides, and I'm going to create a bit of a banner. Once my vellum banner is all put together, I'm going to use Tombow Mono liquid glue, and I'm going to glue my Grateful die cut right on top of the vellum. I always end up using a ton of little dots of this glue just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And then to add a little something extra, I'm going to adhere my vellum sentiment banner to my card base using a tiny attacher. And there we have our completed first card out of our coordinated card pair. And now I'm going to use the exact same colors, cardstocks, and stamp set to create this card, which is going to be our second in the pair. So the first thing that I'm going to do for my second card is die cut a couple of these coordinating floral pieces out of the same pine feather cardstock. Now, to emboss them in gold, just like I did with the other card, this is sort of just a little trick that I do. I use washi tape for little pieces that I want to emboss, heat emboss, and I use washi tape to stick them to a piece of scrap paper so that when I'm stamping and when I'm pouring the powder and when I'm actually embossing, they're kind of sort of stuck to this piece of scrap paper that I can hold on to and not lose in a sea of embossing powder or burn my fingers trying to hold. I don't know if any of you have ever done this before, or if you guys have any tips for me for embossing these tiny little pieces. Let me know, because I would love more tips on how to emboss these itty bitty little pieces of paper. So, total side note, but I don't know if you guys can see my bracelets or the ring that I have on my right hand. It has little antlers on it, but a couple of the bracelets I'm wearing and the ring are actually from a couple of my really, really close girlfriends who are way too sweet to me, although we always give each other a hard time, but I always tend to wear my favorite people's jewelry. It sort of makes me feel the love at all times, even when they're not around. So back to crafting, I hope you all can see how simple that just a little bit of washi tape has made stamping these itty bitty pieces that I'm trying to emboss with the Versamark. And here you can see how easy that it is made, pouring the powder and dumping the extra pieces of powder onto these little pieces of cardstock. Oh my goodness, you guys, you should have seen me the first time I ever tried to emboss a tiny piece of cardstock. It was comical, to say the least. Oh, good gracious. But I'm so happy to have finally gotten a little bit of a hang of it. I'm not a major embosser. I don't do it all the time, so I still have a lot to learn. But I'm thinking that, the more you do it, the more tips you hear from avid crafters, the better you get at it. So now what I'm going to do is stamp my sentiment on my white card base. And here I'm actually going to use the same sentiment, the Grateful, but I'm going to be stamping it instead of using the die cut. So I'm going to be using black ink, and I'm going to stamp it directly onto my card base. And then we're going to attach the embossed flowers right around it using dimensional adhesive. The type of dimensional adhesive or foam tape that I use is that gigantic roll of 3M tape. You can get it at like Home Depot or Ace Hardware, or, any of those types of stores, but I've gone through like 3 of those massive rolls and I can't seem to get enough. I love that stuff. I cut it in half, I cut it in pieces. I think it's the 1/2 inch size width that I use of the piece, but it works so well for me, and I just love it. So we put that last piece right on our card and fold it over, and that's it. It's a beautifully simplistic design. I think both of them are actually, but they coordinate and they're perfect. You can put them all together or give them away separate. Thank you so much for joining me for another Make It Monday. I had a blast, and I really hope you guys give it a try. Make a couple cards that coordinate but aren't exactly alike, and I can't wait to see what you come up with. Bye!